Beyond Cosmo as a mod pack, I had to check out the second I saw it because we share a name and it's sci-fi themed. Sounds fun, right?
Yep. One of my friends' Discord bios is 26 communist symbol.
Dude, I just threw a skateboard in my house.
What, did you just start going on? No! No!
I want to maybe make a video covering some basic things that every mod pack needs to have in their foundation, especially because this pack lacks a lot of them. A quick disclaimer to keep in mind, the modded Minecraft community is an active development space. In the time it took me to make this video, this pack has received several updates. I played 1.2.4 and 1.3.7, but I think as of writing this script, 1.5 released yesterday. Just be sure you check the date on this video and glance at what updates have been made before making a decision on if you play this mod pack or not, and that goes for all of my content. So getting into it, talking performance first as always, this pack is a nightmare when it comes to this. I can't speak on how the server side would work since I played this pack solo, so we'll focus on the client. Shaders are enabled by default on high settings, and the pack has a resource pack by Mr. Blue Yeti that remodels the monsters. Does it look great? Yes, absolutely, but it will take your GPU and stomp it into the mud. I also experienced a weird bug with the shaders where the blocks would wiggle, which was fixable by turning them down to medium, and after a while I couldn't recreate it, so it looked like I was tweaking when I was in call with my friends and trying to show them. Sorry, Dweller. Loading into a world takes longer than I'd expect, and on top of this, the menus bug out for some reason when you're in the loading screens. I think this is probably something to do with maybe a misconfigured fancy menu screen, but I can't say for certain. Clear lag is also enabled on the client, meaning items get cleared periodically even in single player, and this should be disabled by the dev. As a note for the mod pack community in general, polymorph is a great mod, but it is meant to be temporary. If you don't know, this is the mod that lets you switch what recipe you want to make in case there's like a conflict within the mod pack, but there's a command in the mod that will let you view all recipe conflicts, which is a great resource for developers that should be put to use. You can also use Cube.js to remove duplicate ores, which I normally wouldn't stress too much about with a newer pack, but with one like this that has create as a central form of progression, you need to fix at least the duplicate zinc and bronze. Plus, this majorly contributes to inventory and storage bloat since you often have one ingot type taking up double the normal amount of slots. On the topic of ores, there are just too many. A lot of these are definitely able to be removed and replaced with a different ore that already exists in the pack. I think it's goofy when I walk by a mountain or cave formation and see 10 different ore veins that all look different, are from different mods, and look ugly as hell. Ore parity is one of the first things you should do within your mod pack. The final thing I want to address in this section of the video is that you aren't subscribed yet. You should like and subscribe with notifications on and leave a comment for the algorithm. I'm a broke college student, it helps a lot. I also have a Twitch, a Discord you can join, and I also have a Ko-Fi if you want to support me on there, and I have merch that I hand drew if you want to check that out. I also made the font that I use on there. Pretty proud of that. The final thing I actually want to address in this section of the video is that there are a couple mods in here that I feel are rather unnecessary, mainly two. Essential and Controllable are mods that most users don't need and shouldn't be included in the base version of the mod pack. I always recommend E4MC over Essential because it isn't filled with microtransactions and it's open source if you want to include hosting support within your mod pack, which is a pretty good idea, typically. Controllable allows you to play modded Minecraft with a controller, which is a good mod to include if you configure it and preset the mod pack keybinds. It should be integrated or just not included at all. I will also add that this mod should not be the dev's priority right now, as there are many other foundational issues within the pack that need to be tackled first. I do appreciate the instructions for Mac users in the description though, that's nice. This mod pack has a clear vision with progression, which I appreciate as someone unfamiliar with the tech mods featured. The quest book is beautifully designed, and I enjoy that it serves as a guide with good bonuses. The initial progression stage feels very poorly designed to me, however. There are rocks on the ground and you have to get flint, and it says you have to nap stuff together in the quest book, so you assume you nap the flint and rocks together and bam, you're good to go, right? Wrong, you fool. You have to slam the flint into stone blocks to get a rock item from a different mod, and that is the kind that you have to use to progress, which, don't get me wrong, I'd be so down with if it wasn't for all the rocks on the ground that are named the same and not addressed anywhere as not being interchangeable with the other rocks. You also need quite a bit of iron to progress at first, which brings me to something I actually really enjoyed with this mod pack. Being encouraged to scavenge resources as a loot goblin style player appealed to me perfectly. There are giant towers that you can get iron bits from, and these small building structures you can get iron doors from to smelt down and into ingots. I thought it was fun that at some point I had so much create stuff and I hadn't crafted any of it. Plus, exploring was just way more fun than I think cave diving would have been, especially with the crazy mobs spawning on the surface and in the caves. Though with create, I wish they had given the textures some attention rather than just slapping in a resource pack. I understand this is because the water wheels pull from textures differently. Take your hands off that keyboard. It would just be nice if they were paired. Oh, another thing I really liked about this mod pack was the smithing system. I didn't quite like it at first because I've been playing through Vintage Story and frankly that like smithing and forging system is so cool. But within the limitations of Minecraft, I feel like this one is very well designed. I don't know if the mod pack dev has done any customization to it because it's the first time I've played with the mod, but props to the dev for mod choice at least. This pack is meant to be difficult, and I love difficult packs. It's a lot of fun to face a genuine challenge, especially in a world of cozy, comfy packs kind of being king right now. Yet I find this to be more of a downfall for the pack for a similar reason that I criticize RLCraft. The difficulty feels artificial. It comes in the form of mobs that randomly spawn and have lasers, giant cyborg raptor mounts, zombies with guns and resistance 3, creepers that randomly decide when they want to blow a hole in the side of your base, etc. Also, weird instances of very strong mobs just kind of spawning under me. And to an extent, I get it. I used to speedrun RLCraft, and it can be a lot of fun to do something like this. But I think this pack misinterprets something that makes it so RLCraft gets away with this kind of artificial tedium style difficulty. There is a method to the madness. With Lycanite's mobs, specifically the way it's configured in RLCraft, the mobs only spawn based on player actions, with the exception of specific mob events and a few other things. So while most spawns may seem random to an inexperienced player, they're caused by you, whether it be breaking wood, breaking grass and crops, mining ores, etc. And with other mobs like dragons, you typically have ample warning that they're there via being able to hear the wing beats. But you will never encounter a Lycanite boss in the wild without you actively searching it out, or without you choosing to spawn it in. Another example that may be a bit better here is Rebirth of the Night. The mod pack heavily encourages preparation, telling you to prepare for the challenges to come. You're given a set amount of time and a bit of information, and you learn how to counter the mobs that can destroy your stuff beforehand, meaning if you get destroyed during a horde, it's ultimately on you. It's your actions that dictate what happens, which is the design philosophy of Minecraft as a whole, and it's a core thing with game design that I find really important. I ran this segment by my friends when I was showing the first draft of my video, and one of them phrased it in a way I really liked. My friend Forik, funnily enough, the lead dev of Rebirth of the Night, said, "It's not fair, it's unearned and overwhelming due to removing player agency, and player agency is the #1 priority of any game, and I think that's clearer than I could have ever phrased it." This mod pack misses that point, which is why I find it more annoying to play this pack than anything, which sucks because I like the concept a lot. I think this is one I don't care for at the moment because I feel it's missing a lot of basic things, but one I'll definitely keep eyes on for when those things are tackled in future updates. The pack is still young, and if it was this dev's first pack, I'd approach this a little differently, but this is the dev of Beyond Depth, which I get requests to review all the time, and they have several other projects too. But I want to take a moment here to talk about one specific mod I think is dragging this entire mod pack down so much that it should just be removed, and that is Gathering Torches Become Sunlight. Not only are the asset designs goonified and inconsistent enough for me to think they may be stolen, unconfirmed, just my opinion, but this mod is so bad I'm half convinced it's coded by AI, which is also unconfirmed and just my opinion. But let's get into the myriad of issues. Mangler meat, and I believe all the other meats from this mod, don't go into the smoker, they have to be cooked in the furnace, and the assets aren't 16 by 16, plus they just look bad. There are slabs made for structures from this mod that don't have their mining tool set correctly, and they don't drop themselves when mined. There's also an elevator in the structure that is so incredibly buggy it's laughable. The floor has ice physics, mobs go through the floor, it disappears when I take it back up, and it's weird to use in general. If I were the dev for this mod pack and I was for some reason dead set on keeping this mod in, I'd at least replace the elevator with a create one, and maybe use CubeGS to fix whatever's going on with these vertical slabs. The mobs from this mod are also just goofy. Like, look at this guy, he's such a goober. And it's genuinely so sad that this mod sucks so much because the structure it adds is so neat. Finding an active bunker with NPCs living there in a post-apocalyptic sci-fi mod pack is a great idea, and I wish it were better executed. If I were the dev here, I'd take inspiration and do my own structure. But this mod sucks. It's not worth keeping in the pack at all in my opinion, and it alone really messed with my experience within the pack. And on top of this, when I spawned in the mobs in creative mode, each mob dropped me 30 frames. I have a 5070, bro! There are also a few other mods that just don't seem to fit at all, namely mechanism mobs, which look goofy and are very strong for no reason. I also like the idea of explosion overhaul, but the explosion cloud animation just looks so bad. That brings me to a conclusion I kind of hate to come to, which is that this pack was barely playtested organically at all. With the bugs and issues I named in the beginning, on top of the button from Wilds Aside doing this, which a wooden button should not do, trumpet skeletons having Jedi powers through walls, me spawning in on the new update and getting 6 books in my inventory off bat, also this meteorite ore that said I should be able to mine it and pick it up but it didn't drop itself, and me nearly getting soft locked because of some issues with how swimming works in this pack, which is not a joke by the way. If I didn't have a pickaxe here, I'd have to cheat to get out because I couldn't move against the current, and with no tree punching, stone blocks become unbreakable with just a fist. Bottom line for this mod pack, keep an eye on it. This pack has strong potential, and as I said in the beginning, modded Minecraft is an active development space, and I encourage you to check the date on this video and take a glance at the changelogs before you determine if you want to play it or not. It can also be really helpful to the dev if you want to be a playtester. I'll be watching the update progress and maybe revisiting in the future. Maybe this is my sign to review Beyond Depth, especially since that's been out significantly longer and maybe more ironed out. Thanks for watching, see you next week, bye bye!